All right, welcome, guys. This is Breakfast with the Brand, the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to go from bland to industry leading brand. If you are tuned in live, then go ahead and put your flames somewhere in the comments. Of course, as usual, we have a phenomenal show for you today. Actually, I want to start off today with a quote. So, I'm always reading, and I came across this quote this morning. It's by a gentleman called Herman Melville. Guys, you could take this down. So, it goes like this: it is better to fail in originality than to succeed in imitation. It is better to fail in originality than to succeed in imitation. So, guys, when we talk about branding you and not what you do, this sort of ties in. Branding you means tapping into your originality, putting you on display. What makes you different? What makes you unique? What makes you you? I've said it so many times. A brand is simply a business with a personality, with your personality. But anyways, let's get into it. I have with me the phenomenal Bobby Jackson, and we're about to get into a phenomenal show for you today. What's up, Bobby? How you doing?
Doing absolutely phenomenal, Junior. It's always a pleasure to come on with you in the mornings and talk to the people about branding and leadership. So I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I feel amazing, brother. I feel amazing. I'm pretty I feel like something good is gonna happen today. How many of you have that feeling? Put it in the chat. You know that feeling when you get up in the morning and you're like, I think something really cool is gonna happen today. So Bobby, I'm looking forward to your questions, man. I know you always come with the right questions at the right time. And
Right.
Bobby, the thing about Bobby, guys, Bobby really forces me to think. It's not many times I have to think too tough or think too hard for a question, but sometimes Bobby has those right questions that cause me to go down the sort of thought pattern and actually think. And it's absolutely amazing, man. I love the way you do that. So I'm just really open. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do today.
Likewise, Junior. Likewise. I'm really ready to jump into it right now. I've got questions that I've been thinking about all morning. all
Let's
morning.
do it. Let's do it.
So as we navigate entrepreneurship and as we build our brands and become leaders, we all face challenges. And I know that your brand can kind of help you weather the storm. So I want to put out a experience that I think everyone has experienced before in their business. And I would like you to walk us through how building the right brand can help you weather this type of storm. So in the early stages, everybody is building their business and has some similar issues. And one of the similar issues that everybody has is that they're by themselves. The best visionaries see the vision that no one else sees. And those that are building companies on a vision that only they can see have a very interesting problem. And that problem is no one's there to help them. If they don't show up, then they're hit. They're done. Like if they were supposed to be XYZ place and they're not at that place, no one's coming to save them. They don't have a staff. They don't have a team. So getting into the branding question,
Hmm.
can your brand come to your rescue? Like, can you build such a phenomenal brand that when you are absent, the brand is able to step in and say, hey, you know who we are. We'll be back. Are there some hidden responsibilities of the brand?
That's a great question, Bobby. But just for my clarity, when you say the brand, do you mean the brand name? Because when you started the question, you said that you can be on your own. So the brand, I'm not sure if you're talking about the brand meaning the brand team or if you're talking about just the brand name. So could you give me
Mm-hmm.
a little clarity on that?
Yes. Yes. And I think that's why this question is going to help a lot of people so much, is because it's multifaceted. So, what I mean by the brand is, in my experience, you are the brand. Shaan teaches us to brand you, not what you do. And I found that the brand extends beyond you. So, my question is, when you build a brand and you don't have a brand team, like it's just you, but you brand you
Hmm.
effectively, can your brand supersede you? Can your brand extend beyond your physical presence and do things in the market on
Amen.
your behalf, or even protect you in the market when you slip up in the event that you don't have a team?
Bobby, that's a great question. And the answer is yes, absolutely can. But I believe that it really truly comes back to the way that the visionary frames the brand. So we have something that we say less about the man, more about the brand. And what that means is that it's less about Sean, it's less about Bobby, it's less about Yvette, it's less about Ricardo, right? Whoever is looking, it's more about the brand, less about the man. Because when the man is not present or when the woman is not present, if you make it all about the woman or all about the man, then the brand cannot stand. But if you make it about the brand and less about the man or the woman, then the brand can stand. And let me explain what I mean. So a brand is basically your values. Like I said before, you brand your highest value, right? So at the core, a brand is an idea. So you can remove the man, but you can't remove the idea. You can't unknow something. Like think about it, guys. Once you know something, there's no way to unknow what you already know. So let's say my brand is all about changing the face of leadership. That's an idea. That's what the brand is. That doesn't mean that that's what the man is. It means that that's what the brand is. The man is like a missionary. The woman is like a missionary going out to execute the vision of the brand, and the brand is the idea. So the way you get people to come onto your side, right, is to have them gather around an idea, similar to us gathering around, let's say, a campfire, and we're telling a story. So it's like, okay, I'm going on this mission. I want to change the face of leadership. So maybe Yvette says, you know what, I like this mission. I want to come on this mission. Yvette joins. Then let's say Shade joins. Then we have Travis. Travis comes. He says, you know what, I want to change the face of leadership in my space. Travis comes. And then Ricardo comes. They're surrounded around an idea. They're surrounded around an idea. And that idea only keeps growing and growing and growing and growing because people share that same value. People share that same value. And I I've seen examples of this where let's say they've put a certain, let's say, influencer, even in prison. Let's say they put an influencer in prison. And we've had many famous people like Nelson Mandela, people like we can go on and on and on. People that have been persecuted because of some thought or some idea or some revolutionary thought that they had in their mind, right? But
Right.
the idea keeps moving, and I'll give you another example. Another example is religion. Religion is all about an idea, somebody's perception of God, or perception of how we should live our life. Even when that person, the prophet or whoever it is, who brought the religion to the people, even after they're gone, you see thousands of years the idea continuing even after that person has gone, because they've left behind the idea, the principles, and that is the brand. That was
Man.
an excellent question, Bobby. I
Sheesh.
believe we have to go to a short break, guys, but when we come back, we'll be tapping into more of this. Stay tuned.
It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you, I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
What's up, guys? We're back. Listen, Bobby, you came out with a pretty strong question, man. That's your first question.
That's the first
Yeah,
question.
this is Bobby's first question, man. I'm curious to see what else you got. Let's go. I'm ready.
Absolutely. And I want everyone to know that where these questions are coming from. So these questions are coming from a space of adversity. So a lot of us are finishing out the first quarter, right? You're finishing the first quarter and we're getting ready for quarter number 2. And if you've been consistently moving the needle forward in your business for the past 90 days, then you've come up against some challenges. You've come up against some adversity. And the questions that I'm asking Junior today are all going to hit like that. I'm coming straight at the muffin top this morning because I know that I know what it takes to build a business, at the stage that I've gotten to. And I don't think it gets any easier at any stage. You just get better at what you do, right? But it doesn't get any easier, I don't think, right? So with my next question, so for everybody that's just coming in, that first question was really, can your brand, if built properly, advocate on your behalf in the marketplace? Pretty much that was the short question. The answer that Junior gave us was absolutely. It absolutely can. And when you do this right, you brand the idea and not the man. You build the brand and not the man. You position it that way. So I think that was absolutely phenomenal. So with the next question, again, think adversity, ladies and gentlemen. And now we're going to pivot from brand and we're going to talk a little bit about the speaking aspect. Because we do speaking here too. There's a lot of different things that I can touch on, and I'm going to try to get to as many of them as possible. So when it comes to speaking, Junior, I've heard you say that wasn't necessarily your strongest suit. That was something you grew into. Granted, you like to be behind the scenes. You were good with the numbers. You're a very high C, analytical, and calculated individual. And I think that a lot of people see their businesses that way because they're professionals and not business professionals yet. So I'll explain that. I think a lot of us grow into becoming business professionals. We start out being good at whatever we do. Say you are a designer, you're a great designer, but now you got to learn business. Say you are a coach, you know what you know, but now you got to learn how to turn what you know into an actual industry. So when you were going through the challenges of improving your speaking and becoming a better communicator, what were some of the key things that were turning points for you? Was there anything where that light bulb went off and you was like, okay, that helped me communicate 10 times better, one light bulb?
Well, Bobby, let's talk about why would I even try to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like me, I don't need personally, I don't need much. I'm pretty good, brother, but the reason why I actually made a decision to actually work on my speaking and even with this, right? Like I have an accent. So I have an accent. I don't know if most of you can tell. I'm not from America. So sometimes the communication for me is a little more difficult than somebody else because I have to sort of tailor my accent a little bit to ensure that you can understand what I'm saying. So I'm not coming off like completely like Caribbean patois. You know what I'm saying? So so that was a
Right.
little difficult, man, because I have to sort of adapt to the way that Americans speak because I work mostly with Americans. So that was a little difficult. But the whole reason I decided to do it in the first place was, and this is something that is so important, guys. Write this down. One day, somebody from my team told me that people need to hear what you have to say. And I listened to them and I said, huh? I said, I don't know. I said, yeah, like you have so much valuable information to share. People need to know what you have to say. So I said, I thought about it, Bobby. I sat down, I thought about it, and I said, you know what? Let me do it, not for me, but let me try to do it so I can help somebody else. So it wasn't the decision to get into speaking or to even better my verbal communication really wasn't for my own benefit. It was for the benefit of everybody looking at this right now, to be honest. That was the only reason why I decided in the first place, you know what, let me take this a little more seriously. Let me actually study this. And then, of course, we've been through Speaking Like a Leader and all of these other phenomenal programs. But in the beginning, it was somebody saying to me, after just having a consultation with them, they said to me, you know what, Junior, I think more people need to hear what you have to say. And then that's when I made a decision to actually work on my speaking. Now, in terms of light bulb moments for me, most people don't know this, but you and I, we have something in common. We have something in common. Back in the day, man, I was really into music. I was really
Mm-hmm.
into music, brother, and I've stepped on stage just like you. I've been in the booth just like you. And what really clicked for me with speaking was I recognized that speaking is so, guys. There's a difference between talking and speaking. That was one of the key lessons. There's a difference between talking and speaking. So I recognize that speaking is no different from singing. It's no different from music. So even when you hear somebody like Sean speak, there's a certain tonality. There's a certain music in his voice. And if you listen to great speakers, they have that sort of musical thing to them. So I think that was actually one of the turning points, recognizing how close speaking is to just singing or just rapping or whatever it is that you do, right? They're
Right.
very, very close. And if you can do that, then you could speak. If you can rap, if you can sing, then you can speak. So
And
that's pretty that was definitely one of the turning points for me. Another turning point for me was recognizing that everybody has a unique speaking style. So most people they think, well, if I'm speaking, I have to be motivational. Like let's say somebody like ET, who is absolutely phenomenal at what he does, or they think I have to be as energetic as Sean, right? Who again is absolutely phenomenal at what he does. But the truth is, everybody has their own speaking style. So your style might be more motivational, more high energy, then somebody else's style might be not low energy, but not as, I don't know, not as forceful, more calm, more laid back. And I believe everybody on this call right now, they need to find out what their speaking style is. And
right,
they just need to stay there because here's the thing. Some people they're gonna like your speaking style. Some people don't want the motivational style. Some people are looking for more analytical data, statistics. There are many great speakers. In fact, I could even use the example of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was a phenomenal speaker. Phenomenal speaker. He was so cool, so calm, so collected. But when he spoke, everybody listened because he was able to communicate a vision. He was able to tell a story, and he had his own unique style with a lot of pregnant pauses that sort of just pull you in. So you
right.
never see him coming. You never see him coming. So he's not like the regular motivational speaker who's trying to, pump you up, but he was more like cool, calm, collected, and people sort of resonate with that. So some people resonate with that, some people don't. And this is the thing. You can't be everything to everybody. So I think recognizing that I didn't necessarily have to be like ET, or I didn't have to be like another motivational speaker, or like any speaker at all. I could just be myself. This is the most important thing, guys. Just be yourself. Make errors. So I make errors in my speech all the time. Make errors, be human. I think actually some of the errors I make, makes my speech more authentic because it's not written
Scripture.
down. It's not scripted. It's not written down. So it's more authentic. It's more real, and people know like, hey, if I'm talking, then I'm saying something that's useful. And I think embracing your differences. So I embrace the fact that I'm from the Caribbean. I embrace the fact that I have an accent. But sometimes I might speak and my accent might come out a little bit more than other times. But I just roll with it and just do what I have to do. So I think for me, recognizing that I could be myself and still speak, and I didn't have to speak like anybody else. And the reason why I'm speaking is not for me. Bro, I'm a 99C. I'm a 99C. Like I could be somewhere chilling right now and I'll be fine. Guys, for those of you who don't know what a C is, think of like the ultimate introvert. The ultimate introvert. You see what I'm saying? Like I could just be chilling, doing something else. But I come here because I want to talk to people and I want to get the message out. I want to really help people. And that's why I step. So check this out. And this is a key here. And I want everybody to write this down. One of my coaches, so I have a coach, I have coaches as well. One of my coaches said to me, now check this out. So Bobby, on the disc spectrum, my eye is actually my lowest measure is my eye. So my C is my highest. So I'm a CD. So I'm a C, then a D. I have a little S, right? And then my I is like my lowest. So I said, well, coach, how do I raise my I? How do I raise my I? And for those of you who don't know what the I is that aspect of psychology that loves to interact with people, that loves to, it's like the people's people, the life of the party, the person, that one cousin. We all have a cousin that if you have a family barbecue, it doesn't start until that cousin gets there. That's the high I. Even if it starts at 3, if he's not there, if he comes at 5, that's when the barbecue starts. And if he's not going to the barbecue, nobody's going to the barbecue. That's the high I. So that's not necessarily me, okay? But the coach said to me, Junior, you don't need to raise your eye. You need to make sure that you maximize the use of your entire eye.
Mm.
Let me say that again, Bobby. So you don't need to. So people say, how can I raise my D? How can I raise my S? How can I raise my C? You don't need to raise your C. You don't need to raise your ability to speak. You need to be able to maximize your ability to speak. And that's all I'm doing. And this is easy, and this should be easy for everybody looking at this.
Man, I want to give you a pause really quickly because there's so much there, and let me make sure we're good for a break. We might be.
Yeah,
Oh
we
man, we've got 3 minutes, so I'm going to put this out there, and then we can go to the break. But there's so much there, so much there, and one of the things that so the reason I asked Junior that question is one because I know that Junior has an accent and had more of an accent when we first met. At least it was less controlled. He's controlled it more and more year after year. And another reason I asked Junior that question is because I also knew that he had an appreciation for overcoming obstacles. And the reason I wanted you guys to hear this story and to think through this is because there might be a element of your game, your business, say repertoire, that you are not serious about. If you are a basketball player, and let's say in basketball you have a few fundamentals, you've got dribbling, you've got running, you've got jumping, and you've got shooting. Let's say rebounding. You've got 5 of these things. Now, a very well-rounded individual is training all 5 of them, though you may be better at one. However, I know for a fact, if you're building your business and you're moving 100 miles a minute, there's something out there that you might feel the way Junior felt. I don't really need to do that. Like, I'm a shooter. I don't need to be a dribbler. We got dribblers for that. But the real moral of the story that I took away from this, that I hope everybody else took away from this, is that who you become as you overcome the hurdle is a lot more than who you would be if you avoided the hurdle. So I'll say that again. Who you become as you overcome the hurdle is usually much more valuable than the individual that you would be if you avoided the hurdle. So think about that for a second as we go to the next break. Is what is it that you need to do? Because there's so much that the brand does, from speaking to coaching, consulting to sales, marketing. There's so many things, so many elements to business, and there might be one that you're shying away from. What is it? Think about that.
It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Shaan's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Shaan is the bomb.
Right, guys, we are back. Bobby, man, you've asked some really good questions. I actually want to read something here from Ricardo. So Ricardo Jackson says, I'm Jamaican, and I had the same challenges when I started in my field of work, and I had to refine my accent to be able to communicate effectively and to surpass my own and others' limitation of me. Exactly. So I know Ricardo gets it. Ricardo, trust me. Shout out to you, brother. Fellow Jamaican. I'm from St. Lucia. Same difference, man. Same difference. Shout out to you, brother. But Ricardo gets it, man. So Ricardo, he moved from Jamaica, come to the US. And it's a different world, bro. It's a different world, Bobby. Trust me, it's a different world. And when you've been speaking a certain way for your whole life, and then you sort of have to like tailor it, it's a little interesting.
Right.
It's
Right.
very interesting. Yep.
No, I really love that. And I have another question prepared for us. But before we go to that one, I'd love everyone to think about the word accents. So linguistics is a form of intelligence. It's a form of intelligence. And for me, that's definitely one of my strengths, is the ability to communicate effectively through poems or, music and poetry, just overall communication. And the thing about accents, because I speak multiple languages as well. So when you're speaking in accents, you also have this thing called dialects. So a dialect is not as much as an accent as it is more of a exchange of words. So let's say in New York, they may call soda pop, and in the South, they call soda soda. I don't know what they call soft drinks, carbonated soft drinks in St. Lucia, but they may call it something else. And granted, we both speak English, but when we refer to certain things, we refer to those things in a certain way, and that would be considered a dialect. And what I want everybody to understand is that your ideal client has a dialect. They have a certain thing that they call things, and it's really interesting. So I really appreciated what Junior broke down and what our friend Ricardo broke down, because they may be dealing with the English language barrier, so to speak, with the patois and all those different things, but you're dealing with that same barrier as a marketer and as a sales professional, because your ideal client has a narrative, and within that narrative, they have a language, and within that language, they have a dialect. And until you know the language and the dialect and the way they communicate to themselves, it's going to be really difficult to communicate with them. So this was a phenomenal breakdown. So I can roll into the next question. Next question. So I remember a challenge that Junior gave us. So Junior is a coach to me when it comes to the marketing and sales and things of that nature. He works with a lot of different individuals inside of the Leadership Leverage and HPC programs. And he gave us a challenge. I saw Shade say Ebonics, right? That's an entire, so for those of you all that don't know, Ebonics is like a whole nother way of speaking that's a form of a dialect to a particular culture. So it's very powerful to know those things. So one of the challenges that he gave us was if you make 100 calls every day for 100 days, and it didn't have to be calls, but you just had to reach out. You had to make your message known to somebody 100 times for 100 days. I believe that was the challenge, that you would be guaranteed to make some sales. Like it would be near impossible for you to reach out to 100 people within your ideal client profile for 100 days straight and get no bites, like crickets. Like that's virtually impossible. And I want to tell you that I personally did not finish all 100 days. And I want to tell you why, because I feel like this is going to help somebody. Because I know other people that was in our cohort, that didn't finish all 100 days. They got started, but they didn't finish. So when it comes to marketing and when it comes to sales, I feel like a lot of people are intimidated by the volume. They're intimidated by the volume required to become efficient. And what I mean by that is you've told us time and time again, you got to do the work. You have to make the calls. You have to get in the DMs. You have to get rejected. You have to get the numbers. But the amount of numbers required to move the needle forward is so intimidating to people that they either don't get started or they quit before crossing the chasm, before getting to a point where the work that they've done is actually producing some results for them. So what advice would you give to someone that is not a marketer? It's not necessarily a salesperson. Rejection crushes them every time they experience it, but they still got to get the numbers.
Oh man, Bobby, my advice: go harder. That's it. Go hard. Like people don't understand. People don't understand. Yo, there are people out here. How many of you have seen the movie Slumdog Millionaire? Like Bobby, when you were talking, brother, like I'm just reflecting back on my story, my journey. That's how I feel, brother. Like Slumdog Millionaire. Like if you've seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. Like, listen, so you can only get sales from two things. Only two things are gonna give you sales. Either it's gonna come from your activity or your skill. Now let's think about this logically, right? If you don't have the skill, so you say, well, most people are not salespeople, okay? If you don't have the skill, you can still do the activity. The skill will come from the activity. You see what I'm saying? So if you're starting right now and you have absolutely no experience with sales, no skills, no sales skills, you need to increase your activity. That's it. Because the increase in activity will eventually, just like a bucket of water, will eventually spill over and pour into your skills. Because as you do more, you learn more. It's called on the job training. It's called on the job training. Like everybody's looking for like a magic pill or something. Guys, I don't believe in success fairies. I don't believe in magic pills. I've never seen a success fairy or heard of one. I did the work. I've made thousands of calls. That's it. That's how I develop my skills. I don't know any other way, Bobby. Everybody that I've known, excuse me, when major influencers, we can go from Grant Cardone, Alex Amosi, we can talk about anybody you can think of. Les Brown, they've been in sales. They've been in sales and they've made thousands of calls, thousands of knocking on doors. They've just done the work. Like nobody just got there, you know, just from not doing it. And check this out. You need to do the activity because the activity is where the deep knowledge is going to come from. So there's two kinds of knowledge. There's general knowledge and then there's special knowledge. So special knowledge is defined as knowledge that is not easily attainable or not easily available to the masses. The only way that you're going to get special knowledge in business is from two things: either you get with a coach, or either you just do the activity yourself. You go through the trenches, you learn the lessons, you extract the knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, go through the trenches. And let me tell you something about sales. Sales is absolutely phenomenal because if this is the thing, it's literally a barometer for how good you are. If you're not good, you don't make sales. People say life is not fair. I think life is very fair. I think life is too fair. I think life is so fair that it gives you exactly who you are, what you are, where you are. It lets you know where you are. So if you're in sales and you're not making sales, it means that you're not that good.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
just not that good. So what you need to do, you need to get that good.
Get
That's
that.
all it is. It's not complicated. You need to get good. If you're not making sales, you're not good. That's it. And if you're not good, there's nothing wrong with that. Now you need to get good. That's it. So the next question should be, how do I get good? Like when I started, I didn't have like anybody looking over my shoulder telling me what to do. I literally had to learn everything myself. People hang up on me. People might cuss you out. People might say this. People might say that. You might feel tired. Man, you just have to develop the emotional resilience to go through that stuff. If you can't deal with that, then there's no way you're gonna be a successful entrepreneur. There's no way. If you can't deal with rejection, like come on. And this is the transition for successful entrepreneurs, Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
What I've seen. They start as a sales rep. So from a sales rep, you become a sales professional. From a sales professional, you become a sales manager. From a sales manager, you become a sales leader. From a sales leader, you become a business owner. From a business owner, you become a whatever is higher than a business owner. Maybe you're on a board or something, right? So this is the natural progression for successful people in business. Everybody that you could think of, from Patrick Bet David, everybody you can think of, they've been in sales. They became sales professionals, sales managers, sales leaders, and then eventually business owners that are managing sales teams, that are managing managers that manage sales teams that can sell their stuff for them. But if you haven't been through the trenches and you don't have that deep knowledge, then there's no way. How are you going to manage a sales team? Let's say you build a business, okay? Let's say you build a business. How are you going to manage a sales team if you've never been in sales? What are you going to tell them? What does your script look like? What are the commonly asked questions in your industry? Who is your competition? What is the competition offer? Like you don't know that kind of stuff if you haven't been through the trenches.
Yeah.
There's no way to know. It's just not possible. The only other way is to hire somebody who has been through all of that stuff before and who could manage a sales team, who could get your sales up. But listen, guys, if you can't get sales, your business will die.
Man, Junior,
If you can't,
I feel
I'm just being honest, brother. I'm just being honest. Like people always want, like, how can I make it faster? How can I do it easier? No, just do it like you're supposed to do it. Let me tell you, Bobby. I wouldn't trade like my deep knowledge for going faster any day of the week.
mm,
That's why when I speak, I know what I'm talking about because it's not something that I just read in a book. It's things that I do every day. So I
right.
know what works and what doesn't work. It's not something that I read or something somebody told me. This is me. This is me living my life. This is how I eat. If I don't sell, I don't eat. Period. So this is how I live my life. You know what I'm saying? So like it sounds really goofy to me. Like, hey, how can I go faster? How can I do this easier? Nah, man, do it hard. Just grow harder. Just be harder. Be harder, man. That's it. You have to develop the emotional resilience. Otherwise, you're not going to succeed. It's too hard to succeed.
Be harder. Oh my goodness. I know we're due for a break.
Check this out. Check this out. Before we go to the break,
Yeah.
people like to say life is hard. And actually, we actually have 4 minutes before the break.
Oh, good.
People say life is hard. People say doing sales is hard. Brother, when I was growing up, I learned that everything is hard. Everything is hard. And you have to choose your version of hard. Doing sales is hard. Not making sales is hard. Going through the process is hard. Not going through the process and facing the repercussions later is hard. Marketing is hard. Not marketing your business and facing the repercussions of doing that is hard. Everything is hard. Choose your version of hard. Choose your version of hard. So do you want this hard or do you want that hard?
I like
Even if
this
you
slogan.
get to a big business, and here's the thing too, even if you get to a stage where you say, okay, I can build a big business. If you don't know those little things, a big business is just a series of little systems. If you don't know those little systems, it's not possible to build a big business. But for you to learn those systems, you have to go through the process. You have to go through the process. In fact, I wouldn't recommend anybody, and Sean says this all the time. You don't want your success to take you where your character cannot keep you. If you haven't been through the fire, how are you going to manage it when you've gotten to that certain level of success? You see what I'm saying?
Right, right.
You cannot deal with a little rejection. You worrying about like that's so like okay, and maybe it's because of where I'm from. But bro, if I call somebody, if somebody on the internet hangs up on me, do you think I care? Somebody around the internet from somewhere around the world hangs up on me. Come on, that doesn't do me anything, man. Like I don't
Right.
care about that stuff. I pick up the phone, I call him right back. That's what I do, man. But I'm different, so that stuff doesn't bother me, man. Doesn't bother me. Think I'm going to worry about, bro? I know people. I've seen a lot of stuff. I've been through hurricanes. I've closed deals in hurricanes, by the way. People talking about, oh, I can't close a deal. I've closed deals in a hurricane with no power, no lights, nothing, and I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone and I'm closing a deal. Client says, I'm trying to hear the client talking. The rain is falling. I can barely hear them speaking. The wind and there's trees, bro. There's banana trees blowing outside, and I'm on the phone trying to close a deal. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I must close. I have to close. I have to close. I'm not hanging up. I don't care if it's a lightning outside, hurricane, a storm. I have to close. And I closed. So people talking about, oh, I can't make a little call. Stop that, man. Just do the call. And there's the thing too. Let me give you some real advice for people who actually want to get started, right? For the action takers in the room. Here's how I got over this. In the process, I recognized that there's something called call reluctance. And you could write this down. Call reluctance. So it's that little thing. So I tell people, well, let's say you want to call 10 people, right? When you pick up your phone, Bobby, what comes to mind? First thing that comes to mind, am I gonna bother them? Is now the right time to call them? Like you have a million different excuses for not calling. Maybe I'll call back in 10 minutes. Maybe I'll call back in 30 minutes. Maybe I'll call back tomorrow. Today's Saturday, they're probably with their family. I don't want to disturb them. There's on and on and on, all kinds of excuses. So here's what I did. Here's what I did. I pick up the phone, I just dial the number, and then I thought about, oh, are they with their family? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? So I dial first and I think later. And eventually I overcame my core reluctance. I dial first and then I think. Listen, this is so powerful. It's so small, but it's so powerful. I dialed first and then I started thinking, is now the right time? Am I calling them? What do I say when I get on the phone? What do I say when they pick up the phone? And before you know it, before I could think three thoughts, hello, who's this? Boom, I'm on the phone. And now I'm forced to say something. And guess what? Human beings, guys, everybody looking at this right now, you're a human being. You're absolutely amazing, absolutely blessed. Human beings, when we're faced in situations where it's like a survival situation, we normally always survive. So we normally always find a way. So if you put yourself in that high pressure environment, most likely you're going to know what to say. Consciously, you may not know right now, but you will figure it out. I guarantee you will figure it out. And eventually you get better and better and better. And then it becomes like nothing.
Wow. Man, that's powerful, Junior. As we go out, I'll say this. I believe the saying goes, necessity is the mother of creativity. That might be the same, might not be the same. Moral of the story is this. The more desperate or in need you are, the more creative you become. So I think that's exactly what Junior is alluding to here. And I think that's a phenomenal, phenomenal insight. As far as Victoria D. Blocker, Junior is from St. Lucia. All right. We'll see you guys in a second.
So for me, it was pretty much learning a little bit more about how to communicate, how I can build my personal branding and my personal development. With me, I do a lot of nonprofit work. I also work at Salesforce. So just trying to find better ways that I can network, that I can make sure when I walk into a room that my presence is felt. I felt as if he had a lot of takeaways, especially how he dissected the chessboard and like the king, the queen, the rook, the knight. So I really like that personally, and I love chess too. Life is chess, the world is chess, it's not checkers. So that's what I really like about that.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Shaan's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Shaan is the bomb.
I said Shaan Rais. I'm proud. I said Shaan Rais. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Shaan, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, guys. So we are back. Bobby, man, you've you've asked some really good questions today, man. I hope everybody learned something from this. Guys, put it in the chat. Put some flames, put a number 1, put something in the comments if you've learned something from this. Man, I think your last question was really good. And like I'll reiterate, like, go through the fire, man. Just go through it. And here's something that I learned, interestingly enough, Bobby. When I was growing up, you know, I went through some difficult time, a very, very difficult time for several months. But at the end of it, here's what I learned. I learned that it is better to seek, instead of seeking freedom from pain, it is better to find freedom through pain. Because when you find freedom through the pain, then that's where you get the lesson. So people try to run away from difficulties. People try to run away from tough experiences. They try to find freedom from it, okay?
Right.
But when you find freedom through it, when you go through it and you find freedom through the pain, through the difficulty, through the hardship, through the challenge, then that's where you get your most or your greatest success. 100%.
You know, Junior, when you've brought this down, when you broke this down, all I could keep thinking about was how we opened up the call considering adversity. I think we've been able to tie adversity back to the various aspects of business very well. And one thing that I want to leave the people with before I ask this final question is how to go harder. I have a philosophy about going harder. And very briefly, I was the type of person that did not believe that 110% was possible. I felt like if you could give more than 100%, you were just being lazy from the beginning. 100% is all there is. But over the years and over time, I came to another conclusion. And the conclusion that I came to was this: 100%. When you give 100%, you've done everything that you know you're capable of. Like, you've done everything you know you can do, right? Everything you know you can do. The extra 10, 15, 20, 30% comes from everything you believe you're capable of. And I think that's really one of the best ways to get to 110%. So once you pick up the call, let's say you know you can pick up the phone. The 110% is knowing that you're capable of dialing the phone, but having never done it before. So now you dial it. The moment you dial the phone, you've given more than 100% because you didn't know if you could do it. You just did it. And I think that's just an easy framework without going into the details of courage and a military philosophy. But that's really where it comes from, my military background. And courage is only present in the face of difficulty and uncertainty. So that's something, some food for thought prior to the final question. So you need to go hard, do everything you know you can do, and then leap into everything that you believe you're capable of. The leap is where the courage comes in. Final question. What was the hardest thing that Junior Frederick, the direct marketing consultant, had to overcome on his journey to becoming the professional he is today, and how did that specific hurdle transform you?
That is a phenomenal question. Let me say this, and this is to Sean's credit, definitely. So shout out to Sean. Sean is actually at an event right now with Grant Cardone, guys. Go to his page, like the content. I think he's posting regular pictures there. Check him out, see what he's doing. Go and show him some love, show him some support. Shout out to Sean. I could remember getting started with Sean, and imagine this, Bobby, for 300 days or 320 days, most of the year, every single day, Sean challenged me to do something different. I'm talking about on Tuesday, I did something that I didn't know how to do before Tuesday. On Wednesday, I did something that I didn't know how to do before Wednesday. So every single day, I was doing something new, something that I had not done before, something that I didn't understand. And like, so every day, it's like literally, I want you guys to really imagine this. Imagine trying to do something, and it's not something where it's like in a controlled classroom type setting. I'm talking about, and I'll give you this quick story. Once Sean sent me a message. It was like midnight or something, and he's like, "Hey, we need a funnel for tomorrow for breakfast with the brand or something like that." And that was like 2 years ago. I'm talking about 2 years ago. And I said, okay, I said this must be a mistake. So I look at the clock. I see it's like 12 in the morning. So I say, hey sir, do you realize what time is it in your country? I say probably the time. Probably the time is, it must be like 8 or something in his neighborhood. I said nah, but he was actually like the same time. So I'd never built a funnel before, bro. I didn't know how to build no funnel, and the guy's asking me for a funnel for like 8 hours. People take like 2 weeks to build a funnel, Bobby. Like 2 weeks, and I have like 8 hours, right, to build a funnel. I've never built a funnel before, bro. And long story short, I did have the funnel the next day in time, like literally. Like I think people had already gotten to the call. Now, back in the day, we used to do breakfast with the brand on Zoom, not on like the nice StreamYard. Now, people were already on the call, and I was still on the back end working on the funnel, literally while people were on the call. As soon as Sean said drop the funnel, I literally just finished the funnel. It was so fresh that I didn't even have time to review it and go over it. Literally, like guys, that's how tight it was. And that's just one example. I could think of many examples where you're forced to, or not forced, but I would say challenge rather to be creative, be innovative, and to do stuff that you've never done before. So when you ask me, what is the most difficult thing that I've done? I've literally done so many difficult things that I couldn't pinpoint one, literally. But if I had to summarize it, I would say the most difficult thing to overcome is yourself and limiting beliefs. That's right. Yourself, overcoming yourself and your limiting beliefs. Entrepreneurs, if you're trying to move forward, if you're trying to grow, you're normally lacking in one of three things. Either you lack a skill, you lack a belief, or you lack a character trait. Most oftentimes, it is a belief. So for me, one of the most powerful things was a shift in my perspective and understanding that, yes, I was given 100%, but I was performing to the top of me. Let me say that again. I was given 100%, but I was performing to the top of me, meaning I was performing to the best version of me. But sometimes the best version of you is not enough. Listen to what I'm saying. The best version of you, like where you currently are, it is not enough. And so what that requires from you is for you to recreate yourself. So right now, if you're listening to this right now, right, you may be saying, well, I'm doing my best. I'm at my absolute peak. I can't go any further. This is my max. That's fine. Now you're performing to the top of you. You need to turn your ceiling into a new floor. You need to turn your ceiling and figuring out how to turn your ceiling into a floor so you can perform to 110%. That's how you go to the next level. Because if I'm performing at my max and my max is not good enough, then it means I need a new max. I need a new version of myself. I need to recreate myself, expand the ceiling, expand the limit, and take my current ceiling and turn it into my floor and step up on my ceiling so that that can be my floor. So my former 100%, that's now my new 10%. So somebody, let's say somebody who's looking, I'm not just saying anybody, but anybody, who doesn't know direct response, who doesn't understand sales, their 100% might be my 1%.
Right.
But at some point, their 1% was my 100%. At some point, their 1% was my 100%. So what I had to do is literally recreate myself. And that is the beauty of branded like a leader. It's a refinement process. When you recreate yourself, you become a deeper and a greater version of yourself. And that's just how powerful it is. So guys, if you're looking at this right now, the number one thing that you need to overcome is you. That's it. And you overcome you by changing your perspective, by turning your ceiling into a floor and doing something that you've never done before. I know we have to leave. We're already over the time, but I wanted to give you this, right? Okay, so let's see. So Elaine Jackson says, Shaan, I recently had a successful summit. The challenge was so intense. I thought I was losing my mind. Okay, the success looked crazy to get to the transformation. I mean, yeah, like think of it like taking off, right, Bobby? Like a plane. So guys, when you're taking off, like business is like taking off. So you're trying to get your business off of the ground, right? People say that all the time. When you're taking off, of course, there's what you call turbulence. So there's turbulence. But after the turbulence, you acquire a new high and then you start to fly smoothly. So Elaine, I would definitely say like, yeah, that's what it looks like. And in fact, I heard a guy who's worth like 9 figures say, if he asks a business owner how's business doing, and they say everything is perfect, it means that the business is already starting to die. So Elaine, if you're experiencing difficulties, it means that they're just growing pains. They're just growing pains. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. The next time Elaine has a summit, she's not going to experience the challenges so intensely. Her ceiling, her current ceiling, is now going to become her new floor because she's been there before. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So going through those challenges every single day as much as possible is what is going to take you there. So I would say, Elaine, you're definitely on the right track. Just stay put, just stick with it, and eventually time heals everything. Time heals everything, and with time, you'll get to that smooth sailing point until you have to go through more turbulence again. Okay, so the turbulence is not going to stop completely, but you will get to a point where, you know, everything is nice and you could relax. But as we know, Bobby, and this is the last thing I'll say, businesses at different stages, they go through different, what we call valleys of death. So when you're going from 0 to 6 figures, there's a certain kind of turbulence there. From 6 figures to 7 figures, there's a certain kind of turbulence there. From 7 figures to 8 figures, there's a certain kind of turbulence there. And then from 8 figures to 10 figures, there's a different kind of turbulence there. So, Elaine, every stage of business, there is more turbulence. And this stage is preparing you for the next stage. Cheers. All right. All right, guys, let me just throw this up quickly, Mr. B, and then we'll leave. Guys, if you want to learn more about how you could start working on your brand, go to www.livedeepdive.com this afternoon at 5 p.m. I'll be there. I'm not sure if Shaan will be able to tap in because he's actually with Grant Cardone right now. But if you want to come on, ask a few questions, go more in depth about your business, join me at www.livedeepdive.com. It's free to attend. So go to the link, invite one other person, and I'll see you there. Any closing comments, Bobby?
Junior, I think you said it right when you opened the call. I felt something good in the air, and I think we did exactly that.
That's right. Guys, thank you so much. This has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Bobby, for coming on. We'll be back on Monday. So Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please come with your questions. Please come with your questions. Guys, have a great weekend, a great evening, and I'll see you soon. Let's go.